We're exploring more of the beautiful French Riviera, traveling by train from Nice to Cannes. It's an easy trip. It only takes about 30 minutes. It's 40 kilometers in distance, and they've got a couple trains every hour. So Nice makes a very good home base from which you can get out to see beautiful cities such as Cannes. The train station is right in town, so in a few minutes walking you'll reach the pedestrian zone. The compact size and layout of Cannes make it very easy to navigate on foot. There's three basic areas. There's the old town, there's this beachfront area, and then you have the shopping downtown area with its pedestrian lanes and very elegant Rue d'Antibes. Touring strategies can be summed up in a nutshell. Walk from the train station to the waterfront, stroll along the shore to the old town, eat and shop, then meander back to the station through the pedestrian area. And here's the route we'll be taking as we walk from the train station through the pedestrian shopping areas down to the waterfront and along the promenade past the deluxe hotels. It's an easy 4-block walk from the Cannes train station to the shore, where you can have a peek at the high life exemplified in the extraordinary hotel palaces lining the Grand Boulevard de la Croisette. Nobody will stop you from walking through their fancy lobbies and perhaps pausing for some refreshments. And so within a minute of leaving the train station, you're walking through interesting streets. Rue Meander is for pedestrians only and runs for about a mile. There are plenty of souvenir shops and all variety of merchandise for sale on the busy main streets of Cannes. To tell you the name of the street, I wanted to make sure I got the local pronunciation correct, so I asked a friendly shop lady.
Pardon?
How do you say Rue
Ménadier, c'est tout là.
Rue Meander.
Rue Ménadier.
Ménadier?
Ménadier.
Ménadier.
Voilà.
You're going to find that most French people are warm and congenial. We'll be getting back to this lovely pedestrian lane later in the segment, but for now we're eager to get down to the waterfront, the beautiful highlight of Cannes. We're heading down to the shore to have a look along the beach area, easily reached 2 blocks from that shopping street. Well, in November there's not very much beach action. Now this is one place that it might be more exciting to be in the month of June or July when the beach is quite busy. There is a very large marina on the west end of the waterfront. If seeing those nubile exposed bodies is important, you would be better off visiting here in the summertime despite the crowds and astronomical prices. There is an old town just beyond the marina up on the hill whose origins go back over 1,000 years. But for now, we're just taking a look from a distance. It's spectacular with the castle and the tower. It's really quite lovely, and we will be taking you up there on a walk later in this segment. But for now, we decided to stick with the newer part of town and walk along the waterfront, check out some hotels, and do a little shopping. Naturally, there's a casino here, of course, and on the other side, the building is the convention center and the film festival hall. Cannes is one of the most famous of the towns along the French Riviera, especially noted because of the International Film Festival held here every year in the month of May. The sidewalks all around the festival hall are dimpled with many impressions from the big stars, their handprints and footprints and signatures. They flock here during the festival to show off and promote their latest flicks. Everybody comes to Cannes for the film festival, and it's a big buying market for the television industry as well. It's not just for the movies. The Cannes Film Festival is probably the most famous and most highly regarded film festival in the world. It takes place every year in the last 2 weeks of May, which is a great time to be here. But you might find trouble getting a room in Cannes at that time. You could stay at one of the nearby towns and shuttle in by train or bus, and that way take part in the excitement, get to see some of the stars and some of the great festivities going on. The Office of Tourism is also located in this convention center, so drop in. They've got some free maps and brochures that can help you find a hotel if you're looking, or point out some sightseeing tips. Back out onto the promenade. Here is an interesting sculpture of a lion and her cubs. Perhaps a reminder about the other biggest festival that happens in Cannes every year. It's the Lions International Festival of Creativity that celebrates those working in advertising, communications, and related fields. The main boulevard of Cannes is the Croisette, which is like any luxury boulevard in Europe. It's lined with the big fancy hotels. There's the beach on one side and a row of luxury shops. You've got Louis Vuittin and Valentino, Chanel, and so on, and those top hotels. So this is one of the great neighborhoods of the city that you just absolutely must come and spend some time at. There's a real estate office offering apartments for 10 million euro. It's a great neighborhood for walking, but if you don't have the time or energy, or you're just feeling a little lazy, you can ride around in one of these tourist trains. Perhaps the most spectacular hotel lobby along this strip is the Marriott Hotel with this wonderful atrium. Used to be the Noga Hilton, and the Marriott has taken it over and done a great job. Now, these hotels really don't mind if you come in and have a look around. They welcome you as a future customer, so feel free to take a look and enjoy the facilities. The Carlton Hotel is generally considered the Grande Dame of Cannes, one of the most elegant resorts all along the Riviera. A magnificent structure, 1 century old, but sparkling like new. And you might be pleasantly surprised at how affordable it could be in the winter time, in the off-season. Even in November, you come in the late fall, early spring, and you could probably get a room here for under $300. Much higher in the busy summer season, and obviously during the film festival it would be unaffordable to just about everybody except film industry types. Here's a typical comment from TripAdvisor about the Carlton Intercontinental. The hotel is absolutely beautiful, the setting is awesome, and the bar at the front is just the best spot in the world for cocktails and people watching. The Baroque dining salon dates to 1911 with original decor intact. And the elegant lobby also features a lovely lounge. The Carlton is on the waterfront with the beach across the street and, of course, a row of high-end shops out front. This main shopping drag of La Croisette is where all of the high-end retail takes place, catering to the 1%. They can come here and buy some more jewelry or fancy scarves as they flaunt their extravagant lifestyle. Now at this point, we're just freeloading, just walking along from one hotel to the next, dropping into the lobbies, taking a look, walking around, and departing on to the next hotel. The Majestic is another of the grandest of the hotels. The lobby is open to the public, so go in, have a look around the Egyptian-themed lounges, sit down, relax, use the facilities, maybe have a snack at the cafe. Of course, the Majestic Hotel is very highly rated. For example, on TripAdvisor, people love it. It got 306 excellent ratings out of 606 reviews, so that's a pretty good record. You would find it also can be affordable in the off-season. You might find a room for under $300. And there are also a variety of less expensive hotels away from the beach area. But most likely, you don't need to sleep in Cannes. While Cannes is certainly worth visiting as a day trip while you're in the Riviera, you probably don't want to spend the night here. It's a beautiful place, and we urge you to go and have a look at it. But more likely, you'll be spending some nights in the nearby city of Nice, which is a great home base with lots of hotels and lots of things to see in Nice, and easily accessible to the other parts of the Riviera. After walking along and checking out the waterfront area, it's time to go inland a few blocks and look at the deluxe shopping street of Cannes, Rue d'Antibes. This is like a rodeo drive, but yet parts of it are down to earth. There's ordinary shops as well as some upscale, and it's just beautifully designed, nicely laid out with the wide sidewalks and just one lane of traffic peacefully going through. The Perfumerie Fragonard is based in this Provence area and has a lovely shop. You can go inside for some heavenly aromas. Getting hungry, we noticed there are not a lot of restaurants on this main street, but the side lanes have got some good choices. We continue walking a few more blocks on this beautiful Rue d'Antibes. It's just a great street, and yet you might easily miss it in your visit to Cannes because it's not that waterfront boulevard with the great hotels and the film festival hall, and it's far from the old town, about a mile down the other side. So be sure to look for this street because you'll enjoy taking a stroll here. By this point, you have seen all the main highlights of Cannes except for the Old Town, which is up on the hill. Now we're entering the Old Town of Cannes. It's just up on this hill at the end of the road, overlooking the boat harbor. You don't want to miss this, so when you're in Cannes, be sure to walk down to the end of town. Just takes 15-20 minutes to walk down here and have a little stroll through Old Cannes. The Old Town's pedestrian zone gently rises via staircases and the upward sloping pathway of Rue Saint-Antoine to the top of the small hill, and that provides a great view looking back across the boat harbor to the beaches, elegant hotels, marina, and festival hall down below. If you have time and energy, it's worth a stroll up through the Old Town. It's a pleasant neighborhood, it's a nice stroll, basically one lane that winds up the hill with some shops and cafes along it, and then you come back down the same lane into the newer part of town, and then you can depart either whether you're leaving by bus, by train, or you're driving. You do have to look for the Old Town because it's easily missed by those hesitant to walk uphill, or those who don't have a map, or those who just don't notice it. But don't be dissuaded. Called Les Souquets, this simple neighborhood is a welcome counterpoint to the ostentatious display of wealth down below. The Old Town is up on the hill of Mont Chevalier, which is 147 feet high. Typical of the early villages along the Riviera, its first existence was because of the rocky hill. And there's a square tower that was built from about the year 1080. You've got the Church of Notre Dame from the 17th century, and above that is Church of St. Anne from the 13th century. These are the only buildings in Cannes having any claim nowadays to antiquity. Although the early history of Cannes is obscure, the area was in all likelihood first settled by the primitive Ligurian people several thousand years ago. Subsequently, Greek sailors arrived and established themselves as merchants and traders throughout the region. And then, according to legend, these Ligurian natives annoyed the Greek settlers and traders on the coast, and the Greeks complained to Rome about the ill humor and rough deeds of these Ligurians. The Romans sent an army led by Consul Quintus Opimius to aid the Greek merchants and obtained a victory over these Ligurian tribes in the year 155 BC. The Romans subdued the natives without much trouble and then gave the settlement they called Aegitna to the citizens of Marseille. In the Middle Ages, Cannes became a fief of the powerful Abbey of Lerins, to which the whole of the adjacent country had gradually become subject. It was twice destroyed by the Saracens in the 8th and 10th centuries, and repopulated by a colony from Genoa. Not until 1788, that's the year before the French Revolution, did this town become free from its religious masters. There's a couple of pleasant squares in the Old Town and a few restaurants and ice cream shops, of course. Always a creperie nearby, and sidewalk cafes. And once you've made it to the top of the hill, you get your reward. The view looking back out across the city and the marina with the hotels in the distance and the rolling hillsides in the far landscape. It's beautiful. Alternatively, if you don't want to walk up the hill, you could take the Petite Train. It's called the Train du Cinéma, and it's a half-hour tour that you can catch from downtown. Or if you're the mailman, you don't have to walk either. You can ride your scooter. Great way to get around these narrow streets and deliver the mail at the same time.
There we go.
Well, at least walking downhill is much easier than walking up. You can almost float down. How about these two couples walking along together and each joined to each other? Dog watching, people watching, It's all a big part of the fun of traveling, along with your eating and historical explorations. Just looking around you and appreciating your surroundings. That's always something to enjoy. Or perhaps you're looking at a rabbit that's bigger than a pig, and there's a kitten in there too. Somebody is trying to make a little bit of money of displaying his animals. After that enjoyable short stroll downhill through the old town, you've arrived back in the main commercial part of Cannes. The middle lane, Rue Menadier, is for pedestrians only and runs for about a mile right towards the train station, which is where you'll be heading shortly to continue your day's journey. Surprisingly, although Cannes is one of the most legendary of towns along the Riviera, a region famous for luxury and high society, the main shopping section and the old part of town are down to earth with normal prices and a friendly atmosphere. Cannes is a year-round destination with a pleasant Mediterranean climate. The city enjoys 12 hours of daily sunshine during the summer, that's from May to September, and in the winter, December, January, February, the weather is quite mild. Both seasons see a relatively low rainfall. Most of the rain occurs in October and November, when they get about 4 inches. The summers are long and warm, with daytime temperatures normally hitting 30 degrees Celsius or 86 Fahrenheit, while average temperatures are about 25 degrees Celsius, 77 Fahrenheit. Despite the high summer temperatures, a Mediterranean breeze usually keeps the summer evenings comfortably cool. Another fun activity to consider is a boat ride. If you have time, there are various day cruises to Monaco, Saint-Tropez, and other destinations along the shore. But it's in the main season only from mid-June to mid-September. Well, that wraps up this visit to Cannes. We do have other movies about this city and other places in the region of Provence, Nice, Avignon, all around from Marseille to Monaco. So be sure to look at our YouTube channel with over 1,000 free movies all about the world's great destinations. You can find a well-organized listing of our travel movies on our website, tourvideos.com. A half-hour train ride brings us back along the beautiful coastline to our home base in Nice. And notice they even allow dogs to come right on the train. No problem, they're very well behaved. You can buy a point-to-point ticket. If you purchase those tickets months in advance, they're less expensive. So if you really know your schedule, that's one way to go. Or you can buy a France Rail Pass. Those come in handy. You can buy a 5-day Rail Saver Pass. It's, good for 5 days of use during a 30-day period. That's handy for getting around and touring once you've arrived. The Nice train station is a grand old structure, and it's quite busy with frequent train service all along the coast. We have a lot more episodes about other destinations in the south of France, including Avignon, Nice, Monaco, Cannes, and Saint Paul, available in our travel series. Take a look at our YouTube channel.